everybody to my post-Christmas, pre-New Year playful class. I'm hoping that this is going to G you up a little bit, get you out of that post-Christmas slump and just get your body moving, get you feeling good and a bit more energized maybe. So we're going to start standing, and ideally bare feet is good, no socks that are too chunky, too thick, as tempting as those socks are right now with the cold weather. And we're going to have a little bit of a walk around, first of all on the toes, the ball end of the foot. So the idea is you just walk around your space, you go wherever you can in the space that you've got. You don't have to go forwards, you can go backwards, you can go a little to the side, just as long as you're spending some time on that toe end of your foot with your heels lifted. If you look down, it will affect your posture, so try to look towards the horizon as best as you can. I'm assuming there are no trip hazards. We're going to go to the heels of the feet now, meaning that the toes will be lifted. Try not to stick your bottom out when you're doing this. Again, you can go forwards, you can go backwards, sideways, making sure the knees are not holding themselves. The thighs are fairly relaxed. And then we get to have a little bit of fun coming onto the big toe edges of the feet. So it's really normal to feel knock-kneed here. You can of course go into it more if it feels okay for you. If it's not so great, back off a little bit. Big toe edges of the feet, little toes are lifted, and again, just having a little bit of a walk around in any way that feels fun and good. And then we've got those little toe edges, of course. So now the knees are going to be a little bit wider. We're doing our best sort of John Wayne impression. And just exploring your space from that little toe edge of the foot. The big toes might not be as lifted as mine are, that's okay, see what you think. And then we can stomp that out, just noticing the awareness that we've created in the feet and that they may be a bit more awake than they were a few moments ago. From here, we are going to do a little jump to land on one foot, the toes of one foot specifically. So it doesn't have to be a crazy jump, you're just going to take a little leap forwards and see if you can balance and be there for a moment. It's not as easy as it looks, hey? Step back again and then go to the other foot perhaps. Little leap, land on the ball of the foot, the toes, and yeah, be there. Don't forget to smile, don't take it too seriously. Again, jumping and landing with the heel lifted. And obviously the further that you lunge forwards, the more challenging the land will be. So you can go small, you can tease out a bigger leap the more that you do. We're just going to do one more to each side. Woo! Little leap, land, balance. One more time to the other side. There we go. And then again, just having a little bit of a stomp out through the feet there. So they hopefully feel a bit more awake, a bit more alive. We're going to come to the floor now. So just making a little bit of space for yourselves. I've got the tree here which I'll have to negotiate with. Hopefully you've got plenty of space around you. You're going to come onto your back with your knees bent and your feet roughly hip socket width apart. Taking a moment to settle into your breathing. Using the in-breath to create a sense of space around the body. And as you exhale, you can exhale away any of that festive tension or holding that might still be there lurking in your body. So breathing any of that nasty stuff away. Breathing in a bit more of the good stuff. And then using our feet, we are going to push into the floor so the pelvis can tilt up, feeling the change around your head, neck and shoulders. Let gently unravel the pelvis. Pull is too strong of a word, it's more of an unraveling. And then again, press through your feet, tilt up through the pelvis. Continue to do that movement, using the feet to create a change through the pelvis, but observing what's happening around the head, neck and shoulders and that necklace area of your body, your upper chest. So we want the upper ribs to be moved, not necessarily as much as the lower ribs, but moved in some way. We don't want to leave them out. We want this movement to undulate through the whole of the spine. Right from tail to head, and then back from head to tail. And what's quite fun is to play with the pace of that. So I could start to jiggle myself a little bit more. So I can, it's almost like the movement becomes a little clearer, but it is quicker, and I jiggle and wiggle a little bit more. We can then slow it down again, of course, just finding a pace that suits you, having a little fun with it. We are trying to G ourselves up after all. And then I'd like you to come to settle so that we can go into a little bit of bridging. So when we bridge, the feet may need to come a teeny tiny bit closer towards our sit bones, which is fine. And we're going to bridge today with the arms reaching up to the ceiling. So your arms are reaching up and you're slowly sending the shins, the knees, the thighs forwards over the feet to come up through your spine. I'd like you to have a sense of having left your chest behind, left your collarbones behind. So when you come up, there's this very clear diagonal from your knees to your head. As you come down through your arms, expanding from that necklace area of those upper ribs all the way through the rest of the ribs to your pelvis. And then we just keep going. We use the legs to support the spine, both on the way up and on the way down. The arms being up can challenge the legs a little more, but it can also give us that clarity of what is changing around the upper body. We're going to go for another 1 or 2 bridges here. Really keep the weight of the shoulder blades on your mat, on your floor. You want to feel that definition around the shoulder blades. And I'm going to invite you to bridge up and to stay up so that we can have a little jig again. So using the feet, can you gently jiggle your body up and down? There's no change in the position of the pelvis. It doesn't tilt up or down because we're already in our bridge. So you're just going to feel like you push your head up a little bit and then it comes back down. It's quite interesting to do, it's quite fun. You might feel certain parts of yourselves warming and waking up a little bit more. When you're ready, you can let the jiggle settle and you can bridge down. As we bridge down, we're now going to reach our arms overhead. So it feels like we're being pulled in 2 directions to get longer, to find more space. So you can then circle the arms around and in, hug the legs in, so you get to rock from side to side. And then we're going to move on from there. I'd like you to make a star shape on your floor. So your arms can be a bit wider, your legs can be. Watch out for your trees, your Christmas decks. First of all, let's keep it simple. Let's draw one heel up towards the sitting bone on that side of the body. Your pelvis might tilt very slightly, that's fine, but what we want is the knee going out, finding length through the inner thigh of that moving leg. Stretch the leg back out again and repeat to the other side. It's very similar to a bent knee opening. If necessary, point your knee further up to the ceiling rather than out to the side. And it might be that you're happy to bring that one heel up and in, to then keep it there. So keeping the foot up and in, start to reach through your free arm and leg so you can roll onto your side. Doesn't have to look pretty, it just needs to feel good. And then we roll back onto our backs and we stretch into that star shape again. So you draw the leg in, you reach through the other arm and leg, and you almost go through a side bend, and you can curl up into a ball if that feels good, and then come back onto your back again. Watch you don't undress yourselves, here it comes. Knee comes out to the side, foot comes up and in. You stretch to somehow draw yourself onto your side. So we're looking at our relationship with the floor. How do we move the curves and the edges of our bodies against a firmer surface, a flat, firmer surface? So you can keep going with that lovely rolling exercise, enjoying the twist and the turn element, the side bending element, but we could also come into something a little bit more dynamic, our skydiver movement. So you're hugging the legs in, and you're going to simultaneously push the legs into the hands and the arms as you pull into the legs with your hands and arms. And as a result, you're going to be invited into a nice ball shape where you can then release the arms and the legs from each other, roll from your side or your back through your side onto your front, skydiver. We then come back via our side onto our back again. You get that moment of connection through the arms and the legs, which will feel nice and supportive. And then we go to the other side. It's usually quite different, one side to the other. And notice I'm trying my best to not fall flat on my face, but to also not put my hands or my feet down. So that gets interesting, doesn't it, when we try to roll through the torso only. We're going to go one more time to each side, I think. There's real learning in those kind of jagged edges of any movement. So if you're finding that you speed up or go too quickly to one side, really focus on that element of the movement. All right, we're going to rest there, whatever kind of rolling we're doing. And then we're going to come onto our fronts. So again, watching out for any Christmas decks, Christmas trees, leftover presents. You're going to come onto your front and you can rest your head down for a moment, just giving the hips a bit of a wiggle to check that we are happy on our fronts. We might need to breathe here and really settle in for a good moment or two. So when you do feel settled and that the space between your hip bones, there's a little bit of weight under your pubic bone, make a diamond shape through the arms and let your head hover. So it's not a big hover. This can be done with an overball under the chest, just needs to be the right size, so you can definitely have a little play with that. We'll start by moving into some baby looks. The idea is that you're turning, maybe with an out breath, to look over one shoulder. You come back through the center, and then using the hands to support you, turn and look over the other shoulder. It might be a different experience, one side to the other, that's really normal. If I'm looking left, I like to think of getting a little heavier through my right side. So the stuff that's inside my body, all of that Christmas food, is pouring into one side to help me peek over the other side. And I'd like to add something in. As you look to the side, you have the option to bend your leg in. up and in. It's almost like the upside down version of what we did in the star shape on our backs a few moments ago. So you're getting a really nice opening through your hip. And do have that sense of the inner thigh lengthening to help the knee bend to the side. And you can absolutely stay low with this, but you can also think about coming high as well. There's something really nice, I think, about feeling your arms stretching. You're being assertive but not aggressive. So I'm currently bending the leg that I'm looking towards. But what if I was to look right and bend my left leg in instead? I definitely stay lower. I'm now going to turn left and bend my right leg in. So I'm staying lower, but it might be that I could push the floor in a way where I could then come up to seated. A slippy floor definitely helps. I don't think a super furry carpet would be helpful right now, but see what you think. To come back down, you reach your hands to the side, you pull your chest between the hands, and you roll back onto your front. Turning to the other side, it's the opposite leg that can now bend in, and we end up seated somehow. You of course don't need to come all the way to seated. You could just do a partial press. For me, right now, that feels like harder work. It's like I might as well just commit to the full press, but you will know what feels good today in your body. And I love the feeling of my upper body coming alive here. Yes, it's weight bearing, but there's something really nice about feeling like I'm using my arms, if that makes sense. So you might still be on your front just doing the baby looks. If you're doing the press up, like I am, please just do one more. And then we will finish in a seated position so that we can go into a little bit of a mermaid-y type movement. It's not quite the mermaid as we know it though. So you can absolutely sit in a Z-sit position, but you can also have the legs slightly off to the side. So, or as always, do what's comfortable for you. I'm going to choose my Z-sit. We've done a lot of hip prep, so hopefully that feels okay for most of you. The hand there that's on the side of the most externally rotated leg is going to sit somewhere to the side of you. And you can absolutely do a little bit of shoulder shrugging here. I think there's something nice about acknowledging that the push and the pull through the hand can move the shoulder blade and then the ribs as well. So you can hang out there and do a little bit of shrugging if you want to. And then we're going to try to keep a bit more of a lift through the armpit, feeling like the shoulder blade is away from the ear, snuggling in towards the spine. And you can absolutely move your hand, by the way, as well, guys. So your free hand is going to trace a semicircle, really. It's not a full circle. A bit of a circle around you. And you might find that your fingertips touch the floor or not. Just imagine that you're tracing through warm sand. Let's channel a hotter climate for a moment. It might help our bodies feel a bit better in themselves. And as we trace through this imaginary sand, we can start to reach a bit further as we come around towards the floor hand. Like we're reaching for our cocktail at the side of our sun lounger. Let's just go for that full image, shall we? So you're reaching for something and maybe exploring a slightly different twist, a slightly different stretch in your body. And you can definitely keep the reach low, but notice what starts to happen as we reach a little higher. That we do feel a different stretch, but that hand that's on the floor starts to support us in a different way. It might be as well that you feel your bottom cheek that you're reaching away from starts to rise. So there's this little weight shift, there's this little dance between our floor hand and the bottom cheek that's furthest away. And we can exaggerate that by starting to lift the pelvis a little bit. What I'm going to do is turn to the side, just so you've got a slightly different view. So I'm turning, I'm reaching, and I'm committing to the reach. And those of you that know your thigh stretch, you can really channel that idea of knees and thighs reaching forwards to help open the front of the pelvis. It's definitely a bit of a thigh stretchy feel. Now, if it feels good, start to trace more of a circle. So we start with a semicircle, a smile in the sand, and then you can start to reach a bit further around you, like it's a very angelic halo or something. Let's try and keep it a little bit festive, hey? And if it feels okay for you, you are welcome to complete the circle, but don't just expect your body to get it straight away. Really important that the heart can lift, the chest can open to support the circle of the arm. You can always go on your side and do some baby looks, by the way, guys, if this is just feeling a little bit too much. Be mindful of where you're at today. Let's explore another one or two. I'm wondering if you can hear my clicky knee there. I'm going to blame it on the colder weather. Last time. And then you can rest. It's likely that you're going to feel very different one side to the other, so just check in with that. One arm has definitely done more weight bearing, the other arm's definitely done more stretching, hasn't it? So let's bring the legs to the other side or the other way around, and we start with the hand position just at the back of the hip, maybe a little to the side of the hip, and you're shrugging just to get acquainted with this new side, checking in with your new shoulder that's going to be supporting you a little bit more. There's that definite sense of pull to the hand to lift the shoulder. It's not like you're just shoving your shoulder into your ear. Pushing away to lift the armpit. Really nice to understand that relationship and how the hand and the shoulder can move the rest of the body. So then we start to draw that little smile in the sand, and immediately for me I'm like, okay, yeah, this is different. I'm confident that this side is going to get what it needs, but it is different. And I'm not going to force it to be anything but what it is. We can start to reach, it might be that we reach to a different place. Feel how willing the ribs are to turn in this direction. So it's like when we do our spine twist type exercises, it very much feels different one side to the other, doesn't it? Notice that the higher you reach, the support changes through this standing hand, and I'm not quite liking where my hand is. So I've moved it a little bit because now I feel confident that for my bottom to lift, I can really engage with that supporting hand. So you can keep moving the hand if you need to. We can start to really channel the thigh stretch element of the movement, where the knees are reaching forwards and down. Your circle might not be able to complete itself on this side, but perhaps it just also flows. Maybe it just comes. I mean, we kind of know what to expect now, don't we? Enjoy the stretch. You do have to perform this one a little bit. You can imagine Claire doing it, can't you? there's that element of really embracing the space that's around you and not keeping it too contained. There is, of course, an element of respecting what the body is willing to do, but we can absolutely give it a little bit of a nudge and go a little bit further, can't we? We're going to do a couple more, perhaps 2 more. It could be that it's the hips that are different for you on this side rather than the upper body as well. It's never just one thing. This can be our last one, everybody. And then you're going to have a little rest there. So just perhaps bringing the legs in front so they're symmetrical. Adjusting your clothing as well. And feeling perhaps a little bit more balanced now, having done both sides of that little movement. So we're then going to come back to the floor with the legs straight. If you need a head block, have a head block. I find that with what we're going to do, it doesn't quite work, so, you know, see what you think. The idea is that we're going to use our heels to jiggle us up and down. Now this can be done with bent legs. It's a little bit different, but it can absolutely, I mean, we sort of did it in our bridge, but our bottom was lifted. So it's maybe more like the pelvic tilt at the beginning, but straight legs is different again. Any natural warmth that comes up around the calves, just acknowledge it. Trust that those sensations will not last. Notice your breathing here. It will definitely help you to get into a rhythm with your breathing. Is anything holding onto itself when it doesn't need to? If you were made of jelly, we'd want to be wibbling and wobbling through the full shape of ourselves. So try not to hold on to anything. Let it go. Let it be. We're going to go for maybe 10 more seconds. You can always go for longer with this. But it's kind of juicy, isn't it? It's a little bit intense. When you're ready, just literally stop. Feel your body unwind and release. So interesting to feel the after effects of that movement, the vibration of the movement kind of dissipating from you. I love it. So bending the knees and coming up to seated. We've got our final little bit of jiggling around to do here. So sitting cross-legged or diamond shaped through the legs. You could even be sat on a cushion, a chair, whatever feels good for you. The arms are going to come to your sides. And you're really reaching with the arms just to get that sense of lift out of your sit bones, that little cheeky smile across the chest. And I want you to explore going from one sit bone to the other, like you're jiggling from one side of your pelvis to the other. And it can start quite subtle, like it's a simmer of a movement. But then as we start to float up through the arms overhead, we can brighten that jiggle up a little bit. So it becomes a little bit more vibrant, and maybe at the top we do want to look up to see what's there, what's happening. And then we can quieten that down again as we bring the arms down. You could even just round forwards a little bit. And then as we start to grow out of the floor, we can brighten up that jiggle. It's like you're going from a simmer to more of a boil. Reach from your tailbone to your fingertips. And then come down again, quietening that shimmy, that shake. And we're going to go one more time. So I'm going to round and maybe even very briefly stop the jiggle. And then I'm going to find it again. Can you sense that the movement isn't just between the sit bones, it's from one side of the ribs to the other as well. One side of the face to the other, ears, head, shoulders. Brightening it up. And then just coming back down again. And settling your hands into your lap somewhere, closing your eyes and just reflecting on what we've done, lots of jiggling, but also lots of twisting movements. We've found a lot of space is my hope. We've found space in our bodies after perhaps feeling a little congested or bunched up in some way. Perhaps your breath is able to embrace more parts of your body, those nooks and crannies that can be tricky to get to. So when you're ready, if your eyes were closed, do open them, bring your awareness back into the room and slowly come to stand. To finish with, I'd like us to do a little bit of body dusting. So we're going to start at the head end of the body, and you can just literally stroke along your head, your face, kind of getting rid of anything that might still be lingering. Go towards your neck, your chest, literally brush it off, anything that's not feeling great, whether it's physical or mental, whatever it is. Any yucky sensations, just brushing. You can even tap a little bit, don't be too abrupt with yourselves, obviously. Going from the back to your bottom, to your thighs, and working right down, even to the soles of your feet. So there's a little challenge for you. Can you balance on one leg and brush away any nastiness through the feet? It's really satisfying. I mean, you can do that for a long time. We've just done a little brief bit of body dusting there. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're feeling a bit more motivated, and have a wonderful new year, everybody. I will see you soon. Bye.